Hello, welcome to our lesson on the writing process. We are going to use a couple of visuals back here. The first part, we're going to go through the whole writing process and just talk about all of the pieces. And then I'm going to give you a little bit more detail about number 3 and number 4 because sometimes those are easy to confuse. Regarding what you're going to add and what you're going to do in each of those steps. So I hope this is helpful for you. There are 5 parts to the writing process. All right, the first part is a pre-write. The prefix pre means before. All right, so you can think of the pre-write as before you do the actual writing. Friends, this is where you're going to think. You're going to brainstorm ideas. I like to use a sheet of paper and just jot down ideas. So I am writing, but I'm not writing in necessarily a sentence form. Okay, if I'm writing about a birthday party, I'm going to jot maybe cake, party hat, gifts, and games. All right, so those are ideas that I might want to include about a birthday party, but I'm not writing those in sentence form or in phrases or in any kind of order. I'm just jotting down everything that comes to my mind when I think of the topic. All right, so our graphic that's going to go with pre-write is you're just going to think. You're going to brainstorm and think about ideas. All right. The second part of the writing process is where we create a draft. All right, in this part, if I go back to my birthday party ideas, I'm going to decide, okay, what do I want to talk about first and second and third? And I'm going to put that jumble of ideas in some sort of order. And in this part, I am actually going to write it in sentence form. Now, I don't have to make sure that it's perfect in every way. I'm just kind of organizing the ideas that I brainstormed at this point. So you are writing in sentence form, but don't get too caught up on it being perfect because we are going to make corrections and perfect your writing in the rest of the steps. Okay, so the draft is just getting your brainstormed ideas in some sort of order and in sentence form. Okay, the next thing that we're going to do, step 3 in the writing process, is to revise. And when you revise, you're making it better. You're looking at things like capitalization, punctuation, you're checking your spelling, you're checking your verb usage, things like that. And we're going to talk about that. I'm going to show you an easy way to remember all of the parts of revising your piece to make it better. The graphic here, I'm not a very good artist, but this is supposed to be a Band-Aid because you're fixing something. You're making it a little better than it was before. Okay? All right, step 4 in the writing process is where we edit. All right, on this, we are making corrections. We are going from incorrect to correct. When you edit something, you are adding words, removing words. It's all about your order and making sure that it makes sense, okay? And then on your publish part, that is step number 5 in the writing process, you have made all of these corrections and you are ready to make a perfect copy. You want this copy to be neat. You want everything to be grammatically correct. And also another part of the publishing part is to share. Now you can share that orally. You could read your writing piece, or this might be something that you turn in to a teacher. You could submit your work for a magazine or a newspaper or whatever for them to publish to some sort of book or other publication. Okay, so those are the basic steps in the writing process. There are 5 steps. And remember I told you that we were going to go back and I was going to show you an easy way to remember what the parts of revising are and what the parts of editing are. So I'm going to pull this top poster off and we are first going to talk about revising. All right. the way I remember how to revise is I use the word arms, okay? The first thing that you're going to do is you're going to go back in and add things. Sometimes when we do our initial draft, our thoughts are spinning really quickly and we can leave out words or phrases because our mind was working more quickly than our hands could write. All right, so you are also going to, in addition to adding words and sentences to make sure that your piece flows well, you're also going to want to add details. Okay, if I go back to my birthday party example, I could say the cake was big. Okay, that is a correct sentence. It is a complete sentence, but we want to add some descriptions and we want to add some details about the cake so that our reader can get a mental picture of what we're talking about. All right, so we want descriptions, we want sensory details, we want lots of adjectives. Okay, we also may need to remove some words and sentences. Okay, sometimes we get a little wordy in our initial writing because we want it to be really good. And when we go back and reread, we realize that we have so many words in a sentence that our idea gets a little lost. Okay, another thing that we can remove are if we say the same words over and over. All right, we want to find a different way to use the same words. And sometimes you can use a thesaurus, and that's a book that gives us synonyms and antonyms. But you want to remove any words that you've used again and again. All right, you may need to move some things. All right, when you brainstormed your ideas and you did your draft, you got some kind of order to your ideas. All right, as you read back through it, you may realize, oh, those two ideas are a little bit out of order. I think I should talk about this item before this one. So you may have to move some sentences or words or phrases around just so that your meaning is more clear. Okay, and the final part is substitute, and this kind of goes up here to remove. If you're removing words, sometimes you can just take words out completely. All right, but sometimes you lose meaning and you're going to have to find a substitute or a different way of saying the same word or phrase. Okay, and once again, your thesaurus is your good friend when you're looking for words to substitute. All right, so that is how we remember revise. And once again, I use the word arms. All right, now let's go back and talk about editing. All right, when we edit, we are making, these are, when you revise, those are corrections that make your meaning more clear. Okay, when you edit, you are focusing on grammar rules and using correct grammar. All right, and the way I remember how to edit is to use the acronym for CUPS. Okay, I first am going to go through my piece and I'm going to look for any places that I need capitalization. For example, the word I is always capitalized. Proper nouns, people, places, and things. Any titles. If you are talking about if Mr. Smith brought a gift, you need to make sure that the M for Mr. and the S in Smith is capitalized. Okay, the next part, the U, is for usage. This is where we make sure that our nouns and our verb tense are used correctly. All right, and you might want to just read through each sentence to make sure that your verb tense matches the noun that you used. Okay, all right, the P, we have punctuation. This is where we want to make sure that we have either a period, a question mark, or an exclamation mark at the end of every sentence. We want to make sure that we've used commas correctly. If we have dialogue in our piece, we want our quotation marks. And if we have any possessive nouns, we want to make sure that we've used apostrophes correctly. Okay, and the very last part of your editing is where we're going to check our spelling. All right, if you are unsure about the spelling of a word, use a dictionary. If you have a good idea of the way the word is spelled and you can kind of sound it out, you can check with a dictionary that's in a book form, or if you just Google online dictionary, they will pop up and you can type in what you think the word sound or looks like as far as spelling, and it will give you some corrections on your spelling. Okay, so for the spelling piece, you might want to use a dictionary. All right, so that is our revise and edit, and that is just a quick overview of the writing process. Let's remember there are 5 parts to that. Number 1 is pre-write, where you brainstorm your ideas. Number 2 is draft, where you are jotting ideas in sentence form, but it doesn't have to be perfect, right? Number 3 is revise, and that's where we used cups, all right? And that's all about changing words around to make the best meaning. Number 4 is edit, and that's where we are changing our grammar type things, capitalization, punctuation, word usage, and spelling. We want to make sure that all of that is correct. That's your number 4 for edit. And then number 5 is publish, where you take all of the corrections and the revisions that you have made and you create a perfect copy where it's neat, we don't have lots of erasure marks, and it is ready to share, either written or orally. Okay, all right, friends, I hope this video was helpful on the writing process. Have a great day.